Hey y'all, and welcome to the 1 year of full timing update. It's hard to believe that we moved into this camper in early February of 2023, a whole 15 months ago. While I'm not making this video at the exact 1 year mark, I'd say it's close enough. I have a lot to say about this past year in the RV, so stick around to hear about the ups and downs of RV life. First, I do want to mention real quick that Thousand Trails has been a huge part of budgeting our campground expenses. If you don't want to hear about our $0 a night campground stays, you can go ahead and skip to this timestamp. Ultimately, I do have some Thousand Trails videos planned about campgrounds and our stays in them specifically, but to talk about it just a little bit, our Thousand Trails Pass, we did upgrade to Connections, and this has allowed us to travel across the country and save an insane amount on nightly campground fees across Florida, Alabama, and then currently Washington and Oregon. Those are the places that we've primarily stayed so far. In some of those spots, we've even stayed weeks at a time, floating between nearby Thousand Trails and staying for a total of a couple months in one area. At the time of this video, Thousand Trails is currently offering 0% financing with 25% down on the Connections and Adventure Passes, which is a steal because interest rates suck. And we all know that. If you want more info, I do have a dedicated Thousand Trails video with all the research that I did personally when we were upgrading our pass. And I'll also link it in the description below in case you'd like to check that out for some more specific information and the differences between the passes. Plus, I've put my agent's information in the description in case you'd like to talk to an actual Thousand Trails agent. That I am not. I'm just talking about my own personal experiences, and then the agent I work with, Irma, she is so sweet, so helpful, and she can answer any questions that I can't. And if you have any questions about my personal experience with Thousand Trails, comment below. Now on to the pros of full-time RV life. Okay, the first pro for me with RV life that I've noticed has kind of kept up with us throughout the entire year and a half we've been in the RV is intentional purchasing. Now, we weren't overspenders and we didn't have a ton of clutter in the apartment, but as we were moving into the RV and downsizing from our 2-bedroom apartment, you really do see how much stuff that you just collect. Of course, we kept necessities and then anything with serious sentimental value, and then anything that we might use seasonally, to where we might not use it every day, but, you know, winter clothing, seasonal decor. I did keep a little bit of decor for like Christmas and fall and whatnot to decorate the camper. But going forward, you're a lot more aware of the space you have. So I've been able to cut down on a lot of the kind of shopping trips I'd go on where I would just go browsing like, hey, today I want to go to Target, and then go through the dollar spot and come home with a couple things. I don't really do that anymore. Obviously, I make exceptions for certain things that are either I'm looking for something specific or it's something seasonal that's small and preferably unbreakable, or replacing clothing. But most of the decor that we brought into here came from the apartment. So there wasn't a whole lot that went into the camper that was completely new. Not only does intentionally choosing what we put in the camper and buy nowadays save us money, but it also saves us from running out of space. One of the things I do follow is the 1 in, 1 out rule for clothing. So typically I buy new shirts at national parks or on trips where we're somewhere new. When I buy a new shirt, then I'll go through my old ones and donate one. Or if I find one with holes in it, finally get rid of it. I will say though, I do not apply this rule to coffee mugs. Those I intentionally purchase, but I do not get rid of one every time I do. So we do have a lot of coffee mugs. Another huge pro of RV life is being able to travel more than our PTO days allow. Typically in the United States, you might be lucky at this point to get 2 weeks of PTO. And a lot of people, including myself, we like to ration PTO because we don't also get sick days. So your PTO is an all-encompassing, hey, I need to take a day off for a doctor's appointment, hey, I'm not feeling well, or hey, I'm going on vacation. So if you only have 2 weeks out of the entire year, you know, you don't want to spend it all at once to go on a vacation, which some people do, and we used to do that. For example, last year, we had a cruise booked, and it was a 8-day long cruise out of Seattle to go to Alaska. So first we had to get to Seattle, then we had to get on the cruise, do the cruise, and then fly back. So I ended up using 2 weeks of my PTO just for that. Luckily I had a few extra PTO days left over. I didn't have exactly 2 weeks. I had just like I think I had 2 days over. But it's hard to travel and see the country if you're limited only to your PTO. With RV life, you can travel, like whether you travel during the week still or you travel on the weekends. Lately we've been traveling specifically on weekends, but what we used to do was we'd travel during the week, and sometimes I'd take the day off or half a day or whatever needed. But my husband drives. Now we do both work remotely, so obviously that is how we are able to do RV life on our end. But a lot of people, they don't retire to RV life. They don't quit their job and just don't work. You know, I know some people have savings and they can do that, but a lot of people either go the route we do, where they have remote jobs, or they'll do seasonal work, where you end up in a spot, maybe stay there for a couple months and work some either odd jobs or a trade job, or even just get like a retail job or work at the campground, any sort of thing like that. And then every few months they'll work, and then they'll travel for a few months, and then they'll work and they'll travel. We did have a few hiccups in the beginning when we started full-time traveling to figure out which days work best around our personal work schedules, but we did figure it out pretty quickly. And then that's also in part why we moved to traveling on the weekends. Especially after we implemented our 350 mile a day maximum. Looking back this year though, we wouldn't have visited 75% of the places we went if we were stuck only traveling with 2 weeks of PTO. Another pro is your home is always with you. And there is something to be said about that. After a long travel day, all you want to do is crawl back in your bed. And that's exactly what we're able to do. Or during a long travel day and we stop for lunch, we can pull into a Walmart parking lot, park off to the side, and come make sandwiches in the camper and sit on our couch, watch our TV. The cats can go to their food bowl, their litter box, you know, everything is ours. And when I do say our own bed, it is actually the mattress from our apartment. So we had ordered a mattress on Amazon for our apartment when we moved in. And one of the biggest reasons we picked this camper specifically from Flagstaff is because they do allow for a king-sized bed. So it took a phenomenal effort, but we moved our king-size mattress from our apartment to our camper, and that is what we sleep on. So it is very comfortable. None of those RV mattress horror stories here. Also, all of your stuff is with you. So unless you're going on, you know, like a different trip, or if you are leaving your camper somewhere and going for an overnight or somewhere else, all of your stuff is with you. You're not worried about forgetting your toothbrush or a change of clothes, or in my case, towels for showering at a campground when we took the truck to Arkansas. But everything is with you. And that is also a very nice peace of mind, knowing that you're not going on a trip and forgetting something. Campground utilities are a huge pro for us. At our apartment, we were spending a minimum of $60 a month on water and a minimum of $100 a month on electricity. At campgrounds with monthly rates like the KOA we frequently stay at, they usually build in utilities at a flat rate. Some will have a meter, which is fair, especially during like summer months where, you know, you might be running the ACs day in, day out. But a lot of monthly campgrounds with the flat rate, it's usually pretty cheap. At our KOA, before they did move to meters, it was a $50 flat fee per month. That's less than we were just spending on water in the apartment. Also, if you're willing to look into local campgrounds, for your nightly rates, they can be even as cheap as $40 a night. And that's the nightly rate for the stay plus utilities plus anything. We have seen lower, but they were mostly in Texas. Now, by campground utilities, I am mostly talking about your water and electric hookups. However, I'd also like to talk about campground showers, which are a very hot topic, it seems. We prefer to use campground showers over our shower if they are cleaned and very well kept. Comment below how you feel about that. I'm always curious about how people feel about campground showers. I've gotten a lot of no's, but I could totally understand if you've encountered ones that like aren't clean or aren't well kept. The ones that we typically use are clean, and the water gets very, very hot. So it is like absolutely worth it if you want to take a really long, nice hot shower. Because don't get me wrong, I love our RV shower. I can take a nice hot shower, but if I want to wash my hair and then stand there for 20 minutes, the hot water's not going to hold out that long. Another pro to living in an RV, and this kind of goes for any type of RV or van or anything, is the smaller space means less time is spent cleaning. In the apartment, I would spend a whole weekend cleaning, like if my parents were coming into town, but in the camper, I can vacuum everything in maybe 5 minutes. And that's going with like the round brush to kind of get any small particles, and then also just going with like the hose to kind of pick up the pieces of cat food and stuff like that. It takes me even less time to mop the floors. I don't mind cleaning that much, but I don't care to clean a large space every day. It's so much easier to keep up with cleaning in the RV. The countertops may be a little small, but at least it only takes me 2 minutes to wipe them down. While there are many good things about RV life, let's move on to the not so good thing that we've encountered while living in our RV this past year. The first one is no bathtub. So this one's a little silly, but I miss my bathtub the most. Bathtubs are hard to come by in campers. You can find them in a couple. It won't necessarily be an actual bathtub unless it was something that you built out yourself. I do miss my bathtub from the apartment though. A more reasonable con to RV life is the constantly moving. There is a huge percentage of full-time RVers that do pick one location and stay there. They stay in the same campground for the whole year or big chunks of the year. We did do that a little bit in Florida with 1,000 Trails, where we hopped between 3 different campgrounds around Orlando, and we ended up staying about 2 to 2.5 months. Typically with 1,000 Trails, we do stay a week to 2 weeks at minimum, and at maximum 3 weeks, and then hop to the next one. But in local campgrounds, the nightly fees can add up. So a lot of times we prefer to stay either a night if we're just passing through, 1 or 2 nights. Recently we've been staying a week while passing through so that we only travel on weekends. And past that, we do prefer, if we're not in 1,000 Trails, if we're in a KOA, we prefer to stay a month so that we can get the monthly rate. The monthly rates are totally worth it, especially with KOA. That's our second favorite place to stay. At the KOAs, we get 10% off our stays because we are part of their rewards program. However, the constant moving can get tiring after a while, especially if you're moving every couple days, or if you're consistently moving every weekend for an extended period of time. Towing a camper comes with more to look out for while you're driving, and travel days can take a lot out of anyone involved, especially if you are the one driving. If you're having to move every few days, it's not always an easy drive. When we were able to stay in one place for 21 days, it felt like forever, which was nice. But then of course at the end of it, we were ready to go to the next place and see what that brought. But I will admit, being back at the KOA in Utah for a few months was a nice break. My final con about RV life that I've experienced is snowbird season. My husband and I like the cold. We prefer snow. We prefer temperatures below 50. We do like skiing and winter activities, but we also grew up in the South. So we were born and raised in Louisiana and had, 2 decades of living in the humidity, the hurricane territory, and just generally a hot place. So we prefer to go to the colder places while the snowbirds are flocking to the warmer places. However, we did overlap this past fall, winter in Florida. Around this time we were visiting the in-laws in Orlando, and we were utilizing our 1,000 Trails, hopping around. But we did come into a few issues with trying to book. We didn't have any issues in the sense of we were denied a booking. There was at no point where we couldn't book something. But as it got closer to Thanksgiving, we noticed more and more it was harder to extend, or more and more people were coming into the campgrounds. You saw a lot more campers moving around. Just, you could tell there were a lot more people in Orlando. Of course, this makes sense. Not everybody likes the cold, and if you've heard of the Chasing 70, a lot of people travel around the United States in a way that they're always at about 70 degrees is the median temperature. So around that time of the year, it makes sense that a lot of people are in Florida. It was just a little congested. So we'll stick to going to the colder places during the winter. Of course, there are a few more annoyances to RV life that I haven't mentioned, just like there are more great things to RV life that I haven't mentioned. But these are the ones that stood out to us most. What are your favorite or least favorite parts of RV life? Or if you're not a full-timer, what do you think would be the reasons that you'd start RV life? Or maybe a reason that you'd stop? And the biggest question is, would we do another year? Well, technically, this isn't exactly the 1 year mark. We're already kind of a year and a half into it. But as of now, yes, we definitely keep going. RV life has given us a lot of opportunities we wouldn't have had, and it's also made our life better in a lot of ways. So I think it's safe to say that we're gonna keep going for definitely a while longer. Well, if you made it this far, thank you for watching to the end of the video. My name is Ashley, and my husband and I travel in our 35-foot travel trailer with our 2 orange cats, one of which is right here. She likes to be in videos a lot. But follow along to see what we do next.